What's going on, guys? It's Houston Sports Talk back in another video today. And today we're going to be talking about one of the most recent news for the Houston Texans, as they have re-signed one of their own. As the Houston Texans made a lot of transactions today, even waived a player, signed three, and signed two and re-signed one that has played for them in their last two seasons. Neville Hewitt, a linebacker who has played his last two seasons with the Houston Texans, and in previous years past spent 3 years with the Jets and 3 years with Miami. So maybe if he keeps it up, this might be his last year with Houston, and then goes to another team for another 3 years. I'm just kidding. He signed with the Texans in 2021 on a short-term deal. He, in 2021, played 17 games with 5 starts and 60 tackles, 0 sacks, 1 tackle for loss, and then 0 forced fumbles, 0 fumble recoveries. Then in 2022, his second year with the Texans was a little bit worse. 14 games, 0 starts, 0 sacks, 14 tackles, and 1 tackle for loss. But he did have a forced fumble in that 2022 season. Now, his best season in his career, which was so good that he was elected to a Pro Bowl, and in his career, he's been selected to a Pro Bowl, first team AP All-Pro, and that's it. And his 2 biggest milestones in his career. But in 2020, played 16 games, 16 starts. He had 4 passes deflected, 1 forced fumble, 1 fumble recovery, which he returned for 17 yards, 2 sacks, and 134 combined tackles with 6 tackles for loss. And then a solid year in 2019 with 75 tackles. So, a great season in 2020, but that is where he was playing all 16 games for the New York Jets. He's never done that for the Texans. Played 17 games in 2021, started in 5 of them, didn't start a game in 2022. So I think, in my opinion, he'd be way more effective if you played him more. But and the Texans could have played him way more in 2022 and 2021. But entering this season, I think it's going to be way harder for him to play more than he has in years past for the Texans. And I think it's going to be even harder for him to make the roster. 2021, I was for sure he was going to make the roster. He's going to have to do well in preseason and training camp, obviously, but he was definitely expected to make the roster in 2021. And then in 2022, I thought there was a chance he wouldn't make the roster, but I thought there was a really good chance he could make the roster. But now in 2023, with all the talent and all the pieces that have been added into this Texans defense, part of me really doubts that he will make the 53-man roster. And I hope I'm wrong, because he's a decent player, he's a talented player, but we'll see what happens with him. It's definitely a decent re-signing. And you guys have more thoughts on the re-signing for the Houston Texans, and peace out. Go Texans.